Welcome listeners to one of many of history of editing videos that exist in the world. This video will provide information on the history of editing and will also include editing properties, editing techniques and well-known pioneers who have helped to steer the course of video editing one film at a time. Editing is used in storytelling since it helps to move the film story along by adding emotions to the audience, using cuts in films to transition between scenes for the same effect. The director can use lighting and camera shots to create emotions for the audience. For example, fast cuts can be used to display panic or anger, and slow cuts to create sadness. As well as using lighting, the director may also use a series of editing techniques to add emotion. One of the simpler techniques would be combining shots into a sequence. It is a method that ensures that a piece of film is edited to a suitable degree. It's also a method that makes sure that all the videos placed together make sense. Creating pace is used in editing to move the story along in a steady pace to change the emotions of the audience. The slower a scene changes, the more dialogue between two characters can be heard. This develops the characters and connects them more to the audience. Pace changes timings in films as well, because it moves scenes from one to another to create more stories and keep the audience interested. The pioneers of editing have, in one way or another, made the world of filming a whole lot simpler. A few notable names in this field include Edwin S. Porter and George Méliès, who are just a couple of important pioneers in the history of film. Edward Muybridge is known as the father of the motion picture. Edward was fascinated by animals in motion and had experimented with various automatic shutters to quickly capture movement. In 1879, he developed the zoopraxiscope. This machine showed images in rapid succession, which created the illusion of movement. George Méliès was the first person to include theatre illusionary tricks into film and used animation and editing in his films. In 16 years, George created more than 500 movies, accidentally created the jump cut in 1896. Edwin S. Porter was yet another pioneer in editing who practiced continuity editing. This was the process of creating many shots and combining them together to create a longer film. Edwin would turn one-shot films into 15 minutes of continuous film, influenced by other filmmakers such as George Méliès. D.W. Griffith contributed to the world of film with the cut-in, which was first used in the film Greaser's Gauntlet, filmed in 1908. He used techniques like cutting from a medium shot to a long shot to influence the audience's emotions. Griffith also came up with continuity editing to create a smooth transition between shots to keep in time with the movie. Lev Kuleshov was a Soviet filmmaker and was among the first to dissect the effects of juxtaposition. He figured out that a bland image of an actor, when paired with a bowl of soup, made the actor look hungry. If a sad image was shown, he seemed sad, and a happy image made the actor look happy, even though his facial reactions did not change. Sergei Einstein used montages to create his films. He saw it as a way to show the history and developments of a character in a movie within a short space of time. This allowed the audience to gather a lot of information over a few seconds, so the story could progress faster with more background. French New Wave cinema is a film movement created by various French filmmakers who grew tired of the old Hollywood-esque types of movie. This gave filmmakers who were not as well known a chance to adapt the idea and grow in popularity. These types of movie were generally silent but did not need a large studio to create and were cheaper to produce. Editing film has grown from a simplistic to an advanced level over the years. Here are just a few examples of evolved machinery that has helped to make current editing techniques possible. The Moviola was a new type of technology that allowed film editors to view a film while editing. It was created in 1924 and was the first machine for motion picture editing. A flatbed is used to edit the sound in a movie and uses pictures and sound that loads into separate motorized discs called plates. These plates lock together to stay in synchronization with each other. Linear editing is the process of selecting and editing as well as modifying images in a predetermined ordered sequence. Linear is most commonly used in videotape editing. In the past, people had to physically cut the film tape and put it back together in the sequence desired. Non-linear editing is a method of random access editing, which means instant access to any piece of film clip whenever you want it. So instead of going in order with it, you are able to work on whichever segment of the filming project you want. Digital editing software, such as Avid, Final Cut and Premiere, are used in modern times, and they are accessible for all who can afford it on their laptops or computers. Nowadays, film editing has been made easy through the development of the rather simplistic yet sophisticated editing software we now have digitally. Types of editing can vary, since many different methods have been created over the years in the movie business. Some purposeful, some accidental. Here is a list of all the different types of editing techniques. Parallel editing, or cross-cutting, is used to establish action occurring at the same time as one another, also known as interception. A montage is something that is used to show the course of time in the space of 1 minute or less. It's used mostly in films that show the character's development over time, or performing multiple actions on film that would have been longer yet were condensed into just one shot. Jump cutting is a shot that implies a sense of urgency in the film, and it also shows the passage of time. Another abrupt transition is a smash cut, usually in the middle of action, never with a warning as the scene transitions to another. A cutaway is cutting to one piece of film then almost immediately cutting away to another. This is used to show either two scenarios at once, for example, a character making a reference to another. This is used to show either two scenarios at once, for example, a character making a reference to another, being only for the shot to cut to the reference thing or person to then cut back. An invisible cut is a series of smaller shots put together to give the impression of one shot. A cut on action is when a cut is matched to an action. It works like cutting on a soundtrack, only it is based around the action more than the audio. A match cut is a cut or dissolve that matches an object in the first shot with an object in the second shot. The objects must be similar in size and position within the shot. The 180-degree rule is a filming rule that is set on an imaginary axis or eye line. It focuses on two characters or one character and an object. A single camera technique is shot reverse shot and is used when one character is talking to another character. The use of transitions such as cut, dissolve, fade or wipe are used to dissolve to and from black and white to the main piece of the film. An L-cut is an audio-based transition, while a J-cut is an audio-based exit, used in musicals such as Hairspray. Cutting to soundtrack is matching a cut to something using any kind of music to do so, such as Into the Woods.